Oh my gosh, that's a 315-foot tall tree with a hole in the bottom of it. And people are driving their cars right through it. We're back on the Redwood Highway, and this is where we left you yesterday at the chandelier tree. Now we're going to continue our journey through the redwoods out to the coastal waters of the Pacific Ocean as we head away from US 101, the Redwood Highway, and over to US 1, the Pacific Coast Highway, and Allie's favorite town of all, Fort Bragg, California, where we will be spending the day tomorrow. And if we can ever drag ourselves away from the fun attractions like drive through trees on the Redwood Highway, the night tonight. I sent Allie back inside the gift shop right now to ask about our Bigfoot carvings we bought here years ago. The guy who carved them met an untimely demise at the hands of a family member. This whole crazy story. We've got these Bigfoots in our living room. We got one at my parents' house. We got one in my office. We bought a bunch of them from here. And these are the only people that know the artist's name. And since he's passed away, I feel like it's important for us to know so that we can, pass that information along when we eventually pass the Bigfoots on to their next home.
Kenny Scroggins.
Kenny Scroggins. Ah, Kenny Scroggins. Kind of a hard name to forget. A Kenny Scroggins. We got a couple of Scrogginses at home. I'm glad we found that out again. All right, time to hop back into the land ship Enterprise over here, the Heffalump, the Beast, the Random Van, and make our way over to the Pacific Coast through, of course, the beautiful, glorious redwood trees. Ah, Northern California. You kill me. So beautiful. Okay, you look adorable in that hat. Look at you in that hat. You're so cute. Wow, dude, look at that coastline. Look at that coastline. The problem with being in the city for so long is the world seems so small. Then you get out somewhere like this and you remember, oh yeah, we are just little specks. And it's a great, big, beautiful world after all. Whew, all right, well, that took a little while, but we finally made it not just to the Pacific Ocean in general, but to the exact spot right over here where Allie and I got engaged. We have to consider ourselves married because we were never able to officially have the wedding thanks to COVID. And then Allie's surgeries and health insurance and more health reasons and her medication being $24,000 a dose and not changing specialist means that we probably won't have it for a while. Maybe never, as far as we know. But the technicalities don't matter. From the second that I got down on my knees over here to propose to her, until now, we pretty much considered ourselves as one person. And we pretty much, hopefully, always will. When I proposed to her, the sun was going down. It was all smoky from wildfires in California. It was this beautiful, weird, unearthly pink and orange light out here. And since I knew the sun would go down like at any second, I knew I had such a limited amount of time. It was such a crazy, rushed panic. But this is where it happened. Look. Right here. There's the rocks in the background, the hills. It's a little bit different because this lady over there wasn't here at the time, of course. And it was a different time of year, so there weren't as many flowers, but this is the spot where we got engaged. I love you. You're mine. Sorry. Oh, you brought the ring back. Yay. See, I faked her out when I proposed to her out here because I had been telling her all day, oh, too bad I didn't bring the ring. I could propose to you. She thought I didn't have it. She's the one who picked it out, so she already knew it was coming. She picked out the ring. This was her plan. She's the one who wanted to marry me. You knew who I was first. You flirted with me first. You hunted me down. You ground me down. You wore me down. Then you came and moved in with me. Then you wanted to marry me. And now we're stuck together forever, and it's all your fault. And I couldn't be happier. This is gorgeous. Who would have thought a couple of years later, we'd be out here, well, a lot of years later, really, we'd be out here with a big white van, ready to have a little chip feast, a little picnic. What a fun one. It is a little cold outside, don't get me wrong. It's like 50 degrees, which with that Pacific Ocean breeze feels more like, 40 degrees. But it's so gorgeous, who can complain? Plus, the company ain't bad either. If it was about 20 degrees warmer, then it would be perfect. Maybe if we just had a propane heater right here.
Yes.
Cheers. Glue! Oh, there was gluten on your chip. Cold?
Yeah.
Look at the little bean all wrapped up in the tortilla. Aw, I just stuffed myself with gluten-free double stuffed Oreos. Well, I may be tired from driving all day, but at least Allie's happy over here, taking a little rest. Alright, well, can't stay here forever. Allie really wants to, but I told her eventually, when you have to wake up to go to the bathroom at 2 o'clock in the morning and it's like 40 degrees out here, you're gonna wish we checked into our hotel. So before night falls upon us, we should probably end this picnic and get out of here. All right, not too long of a drive later, and we've reached our hotel, the Harbor Light Lodge. And look at this crusty old sailor here to welcome us. This be the place all the lads in the Royal Navy be staying. Let's head into the office and check in, yar. This is great. The whole place looks like it's a giant pier. Ooh, yar. Now, Allie grew up going to this town. This is supposedly the premier place to stay. But even though we've stayed in town a bunch of times, we've never stayed here. I'm very curious to see how nice this place is. Oh, well, it looks nice. Throne, bathtub, giant bathtub phone. What is that? And what I paid a little extra for, the harbor view. Look at that. Wow, that is really pretty. Look at that. You got all the little restaurants, the old piers down there from Fort Bragg's industrial days. Fishing and logging. Cool. Kind of windy out here, though. I'm kind of cold. Well, originally the plan was to go to this place called Cucina Verona, that in the past has had gluten-free pasta, I've had success eating. It's a little pricey, but at least Allie and I can eat together a nice romantic Italian food meal. But instead, we're coming down here to the wharf, down to the docks, because Allie wants fish and chips, and Cucina Verona is closed tonight for no reason. They just decided to close early. So we're down here. Some days you can't get rid of a bomb style, looking for a place that supposedly has fish and chips. And Allie says she's familiar with it. Even though it's sketchy down here, it looks like tattooed men are gonna come out and go yar at ya. Look, there's our hotel up there, and here is the place Allie wants to eat. That's so funny. It's right in view of our windows. We're gonna cruise in here real quick, get Allie some fish and chips, and I won't be eating, but it'll still be romantic. Or I should say, it'll be romantic as long as we're alone with each other. You know what I mean? Just me and her, not you. Sorry if that's weird, but we're gonna go there. You guys. Well, you could go back to the room. You could watch the sun. Why don't you watch the sunset from the room? That'll be a nice treat for you. You watch the sunset. Look at it. It's beautiful. What a beautiful view. Oh, isn't that nice? And now it's romantic for you and whoever you're with also. Ooh, don't snuggle too tight. Well, that was nice. We kept the window open all night with the screen shut. And we could hear the rain and the ocean and the seals down there barking, and now we can hear all the lovely warehouse sounds loading the fishing boats. And the rain sound was very romantic at night. However, by morning it just seems a little soggy and unnecessary. Come on! Now we got a soggy day out here. Wow! It's never raining when I need to load up the van and the van is backed up right to a door in one of those motels. It's always raining when it's like across the parking lot behind some weird bar up a stair set. Ah, well, what are you gonna do? Look at this though, it's gorgeous. They're almost impossible for you guys to see. Listen. But they're right down there, all those harbor seals or whatever they are. They sound like Tuscan Raiders. Anyway, time to load up and do cute things with Allie. At least I was able to move the van closer. Ah, look at that. That's how you know it's cold. It doesn't feel too cold though. I mean, it's only in the 50s or something like that, but it's cold enough to see your breath. Mostly it's just soggy. Moist. Well, to keep out of the weather, why not do a little thrifting? The Paul Bunyan thrift store looks pretty good. All the best thrift stores have mushrooms on the outside. This guy knows what I'm talking about. Wow, more knives than I was expecting. I mean, I was expecting some knives, just not this many. I like this tub. Sharp objects. I'll take all the sharp objects, please. Alright, I'm getting this food chopper. Because if there's one thing I like, it's my food pre-chopped. Stupid shoplifters. Now I can't go in the dressing room and try on these shoes. Look at this. Allie came on down to Funky Town. Oh my gosh. Look at all of these records. Frampton comes alive. There's also a bunch of cassettes, which is always nice to see. And CDs. I'm always worried I'm going to start to find my band's CDs in here in the thrift shop. It has happened to me once before.
The King and I. Oh, this is coming home with me. Camelot? Okay, I've never seen this one before. Oh my gosh, I just spotted something. Who didn't have one of these at their grandma's house? Right? And who didn't have one of these either at your grandma's house, or at your friend's house, or at the hotel? Dude, these things were ubiquitous. This one, there was a General Electric one that looked exactly like it. It's so ugly and brown. You can relive your dual alarm system youth for $5. Dude, this shop is great. I'm literally buying these chairs. Oh, speaking of ugly brown stuff from the 80s. I mean, I know it's from before that, but every 80s grandma's house had these type of tables. Look at this. My grandma had one of these like octagonal or hexagonal. I don't know how many sides it has. I don't want to count. Tables like this. Ugh. Oh yeah, look at that. With the secret cavity inside. Full of board games and spiders. Normally, it's Allie who finds all the good stuff, but today, it's me. It's a pretty good shop, but I've now seen all the exciting stuff. And now I have to hold the basket while Allie looks at clothes. It's just like when I was a kid in the 80s and I had to go with my mom shopping. Clothes? No. But then when you were a kid in the 80s, you could hide inside the clothing racks. Your mom couldn't find you. Dude, thank goodness we have a van. And my good fortune will be somebody else's good fortune when we get these in the antique store booth. That was sweet. And look at this, we got a break in the drizzle. A lot of the old thrift shops that were in town are closed now, so that was our lucky day finding that place. Of course, in addition to its many thrifty bargains, Fort Bragg is also the western terminus of the old skunk train, which has now been cut in two. So it's the western version of the skunk train. In addition to train rides, the skunk train now has the rail bike rides you can do. You can rent these weird rail bike things. I haven't done it yet. I want to do it, and I will do it. Just not on this trip. I've been riding the skunk train since I was a boy between Willits and Fort Bragg. I believe they had a tunnel collapse that caused the two halves of the line to be separated. Hopefully one day it'll be restored because it was really fun riding that train between the two cities. Anyway, I guess we'll explore more of this little downtown part of Fort Bragg when we come back for the skunk train. As for now, we're gonna head down the road and do more of the cute stuff that Allie wants to do. All right, we're now leaving Fort Bragg and heading south on the Pacific Coast Highway. Well, turns out we didn't have far to go because Allie wants to continue doing some thrifting. It is wise because Southern California is about the worst place to go thrifting ever. Well, lately. In terms of, you usually don't find a lot of surprising things. I find the further I get out of town, the more surprising finds you can locate. Like this sick butter dish. Wow. A lot of art in this store. How delightfully fancy. Also a lot of sick stereo equipment. How about that? Dude, and cables for days. That would actually be a handy thing to have in your neighborhood, a thrift shop full of cables like this. Oh man, I need this. Oh, she's happy. She found Christopher Cross, her favorite, sailing. Oh man, who can forget this gem? Where were you in '99? Right. I was in the theater over and over, being disappointed. This was the Peter Pan we had when we were kids. Look at that, because the Disney one wasn't always available. And we would watch this weird Mary Martin Peter Pan. It was proudly sponsored by Raisinets. Whoa, that's weird. We saw the King and I soundtrack at the last shop. Look at this, Anna and the King of Siam at this shop. Oh, cross-stitch designs for Cabbage Patch Kids. Fascinating. You can get a wedding dress or a new hat or some LL Bean pants. Johnny Depp would love this place because look at all the scarves. Look at this. It's another one of those tables down there. Check that out. You see? They were everywhere. Hopefully the name of this place means we're supporting hospice care and not just taking stuff that hospice workers steal. Oh man, the sogginess has returned. Luckily, there are still 2 more thrift shops right on this road, basically just outside of downtown Fort Bragg. I won't drag you into all of them the way Allie's dragging me into all of them, but suffice to say, things are getting thrifty today. Apparently, we just can't stop supporting great causes today. Oh, Allie, you're so thrifty. It's like one of the first things we ever did, go thrift shopping together. This has always been our relationship. See you guys in a second. This is turning into a bummer for filming, weather-wise, but still pretty to drive through. Views, beautiful company. What's a little bit of moisture? No problem. Well, it may be drippy, and it may be soggy, but it is really pretty out here. And now we're gonna go on the hunt for an historic lighthouse that I've driven past a million times and never got out and gone down the road to go see. But Allie went to go see when she was little, and there's a picture of her in the lighthouse keeper's house, We're gonna go see if we can recreate it. It's a half-mile trail to get down there, and it is still very, very drippy.
I guess we'll meet you guys when we get down there.
Man, they make you wait pretty much that entire half a mile before you get a glimpse of it. But there it is! Back in the day when there were a lot more ships going up and down this coast, they had to find some way of keeping them away from the rocky shoreline. So they had to build beautiful lighthouses like this to warn ships away from the shores. That was one heck of a walk. One heck of a soaky, soggy, spray-in-your-face walk. But it just makes me that much more excited to get inside this lighthouse and out of the soakiness. Look at that. It's beautiful. Ooh, it's even more beautiful because the sign says it's free. Ooh, it feels so good to be inside. See, out in yonder ocean in 1850, one of those old-timey ships called the Frolic sunk out there in these waters. Check this out. They got one of the cannons in here. Can't take pictures with this kind of cannon. Anyway, to keep more ships from frolicking their way to the briny deep out here, in 1908, they began construction on this lighthouse, the Cabrillo Point Lighthouse, so that hopefully ships that found themselves in these conditions wouldn't end up on the cliffs. Here you have all the different lighthouse keepers. Some of them had their families living out here. There's a bunch of information about the different restorations that have happened. Looks like it was automated in 1972, which means they didn't need lighthouse keepers anymore, Coast Guard or otherwise. And then in the 80s, when all good things happened, they turned it into a state park. That's pretty cool. Not a lot going on downstairs in the lighthouse itself, but I found out if you're here on the right day, they do have tours that let you climb to the top of the Point Cabrillo Lighthouse. But for now, this is all the view we're gonna get. What is it about lighthouses that's so romantic? Must be the idea of like the station keeper or the lighthouse keeper or whatever he's called out here alone with the spray of the sea. One man alone, protecting his brethren from the wrath and ravages of nature. That's gotta be part of it. But I think it's really only part of it. I think the main thing is they're just pretty, most of them. Especially to the sailors who didn't want to end up down there on those. Ooh-da-lolly. Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't want to end up there. Not in your wooden boat, that's for sure. Much better to, with the lighthouse's help, avoid the shoals, avoid the rocks and the cliffs and the danger. Safely dock and head up into Passamaquoddy. Find yourself an imaginary dragon and a nice roof over your head, maybe a nice inn. Have a cup of joe or something. It's so cold out here. Hi. Anyway, apparently the picture Allie took out here as a kid at the lighthouse wasn't inside the lighthouse itself. It was backwards along the trail over at those houses you can see. The head light keeper's house, the first assistant light keeper's house, the second light keep assistant person's house. Apparently they had a whole crew out here. Took a whole team of people to keep that lantern lit and keep those ships off the rocks. And I can't wait to get into their homes, because what you guys can't feel or see is all the wind, the cold, cold wind. Yarr. The sea be angry today, mateys. I know one of these little houses over here is now a rental. You can rent it out and stay out here. But the other ones apparently are little museums. So let's go inside, try and see where Allie took that picture and get out of the spray. I love coming to 100-year-old plus historical locations. Normally I like to know a little bit more about them before I arrive. And normally I like to wait for sunnier weather. But at least we're having an adventure today. And at least my Allie is happy. See, look at this one is operated as a rental house right here. That is crazy. This would be your view from the front porch and the front windows. Not too shabby, that's for sure. But if we keep walking down along the fence line, there are some more houses, and this one, hopefully we can enter. Ah, yes, the head light keeper's house. This one is the, oh, wait, nope. It's also a rental. It's also a rental. Man, I wish I had rented it right about now. My feet are soaked. All right, there's one more house. Third time's the charm, third time's the charm. I see a sign that says museum entrance. Oh, finally, the first assistant light keeper's house and museum. Built in 1909. Look at that. Look at that beautiful architecture. It's so cute. The only way it could be any cuter is if there was a little coffee shop in there right now so we could warm up our bones. Oh, I'm not worried though. I know as we travel down the coastline, there'll be plenty of cute little coffee shops and bookshops and other shops for Allie to stop in. I'm just happy it finally stopped drizzling in my face
Right when we were done with the lighthouse, of course. All right, here we go. We're going inside to see if we can recreate Allie's childhood photo.
Gotta just make sure we keep the door closed and don't let the squirrels in. Oh, wow. Like our feet so the ghosts don't get angry.
You don't want them to mangle us.
Some Randomland switches. Here you leave today.
Oh, Allie's excited. This is her Anne of Green Gables kitchen fantasy. I wouldn't know the first thing about cooking with this stuff, though.
Not to brag, but I'm kind of a microwave guy myself. All right, here we go. This is it. I think we found the spot. Oh, this is it right here. Look at, here's young Allie as a kid standing in front of a fireplace. We've had this picture for a while. And this is that historic fireplace. Okay, we are totally doing a then and now. Any second here. Just got to line it up perfectly. Well, the good news is you've grown a little since 12. But not much at all. Okay, here we go. Pretty, wait, hold on, a little more to the side. There we go, that's it. I can't believe it. It's like you're 27 years old and you're still just as short as you used to be.
So awkward looking.
Well, you were like 12, so everyone's awkward looking when they're 12. Except for me, I was beautiful when I was 12. I just gone downhill from there. I look like a bloated penguin now.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, dude. What a fun one. Weird. Now look at this. We're not allowed upstairs, sadly. Check out this old phone right there. The station keepers lived here until the 1930s when they were replaced by Coast Guard people out here instead of just, you know, the old school lighthouse keepers and their families. And like I said, it got automated in the 1970s, so nobody needed to live out here after that. Must have been pretty crazy living out here in the 30s with no radio, no TV, no Netflix, not even a phone until 1935. No, 1938 it says. So basically, they got the phone right before all the families had to leave and the Coast Guard took over. Look at this fake tile. It's plaster, you know, made to look like subway tile. Pretty cool. I do like that this whale toy is in here. I hope this is original. I hope the kids went outside and looked at fish and whales all day and then came in and played with fish and whales. They were crazy about fish. Made things easier. Wanted one family. Preferably a family who doesn't like neighbors and is crazy about fish. For an interesting job, must love loneliness, fish, and hate darkness. Pretty cool that the whole thing is self-guided in here. There's nobody around but us. Which means I can steal all the garlic, salt, and ground nutmeg I can handle. Anyway, look it up. The Point Cabrillo. What is it? Yes, Point Cabrillo Light Station. You can stay in one of these houses. And you can sneak over here next door and get yourself a fake apple. Yummy. All right, well, time to brave the moisture and head back to the van. And of course, by the time we get back here, it's mostly stopped raining. All right, let's get out of here, get back to civilization. Otherwise, Allie's gonna get hangry. She needs some coffee. So what we really need here is a town. And luckily, there's a perfect, cute little town coming right up.
We're almost there. Just down the road. The town's so cute they named the whole county after it, possibly. Welcome, my friends, to the beautiful, gorgeous coastal town of Mendocino. Sure, now the sun comes out. Look at the glorious old Victorian architecture, and then right across the street, the beautiful grass leading down to the sea. There are candy shops and bookstores and art galleries and liquor stores. And this happens to be one of Allie's favorite places on the California coast. Look at that, dude. Look at the old Mendocino Hotel. 1878. I'd love to stay in there. If there's such a thing as ghosts, you know there's some ghosts in there. Hopefully they give good massages. So rare to see old Victorian buildings that still have all their porches on them. Gorgeous. All right, Allie's crossing the street, and that can mean only one thing, that we are drawing near to the bookshop that she likes. The bookshop that last time we were here had a cat living in it. As if Allie ever needed any more incentive to go in a bookshop. Here we go. Into Bookwinkles. And look, the cat's still here. I love that bookstore smell. Lots of history books. And of course it is Northern California, so there's lots of weird books. Ooh, and manga, or manga, as my friend Steph always insists on pronouncing it. My favorite. Here's some books even I can read. I can do these ones all by myself. I miss picture books. Picture books are fun. Hey, it's me. No sign of the bookstore cat yet, but I know he's here. Look at this. A book set.
here in Mendocino. Weird. Ooh, and it's a bestseller. Another book in Mendocino. Weird. This is true, kids. This is true. Man, this place keeps going and going. They've got everything in here but the cat. Oh, look at that. My all-time favorite. Ziggy Stardust. My name is Inigo Montoya. They have some very strange religious beliefs up here in Mendocino. John Lennon. A lot of people in the nature section for some reason. Alright, I saw the cat's bed and his banana. I haven't seen the cat. This is a catastrophe. I did, however, find the Anne of Green Gables treasury. Look at that Winnie the Pooh right there. Wind in the Willows, Little Women. Some of the best books ever, all over here together. Well, I don't want to, but I give up. Look at this. Next to the bookstore, there's a educational toy store. Down the street, there's a cute little bead store. Allie loves bead stores. There's a bar called Dick's Place. Still a little too early for that kind of beverage, though. And one of my absolute favorite things, they have nice public restrooms out here. And they're clean. There are so many historic buildings, so much beautiful Victorian architecture. There are hand-painted and carved wooden signs everywhere, all over the place. It's a little upscale. It's a little art gallery-ish. A little saccharine. But it's so cute that you just can't help wanting to explore. At least while the sun's out and there's no mist in your face. Look at this. Check out all the events going on in town. How many of those events happen over here at the Gnar Bar? Right on, dude. Gnarly. Look at that. Supposedly the Mendocino Cafe over there has some gluten-free items. There's another toy store over here. Look how cute that looks. The Village Toy Store. Take my advice and don't come to Mendocino on a Monday. Now listen, you might think that that was me whining. Well, let me tell you, there's plenty to whine about up here in Mendocino because there are several wine shops. Get it? So many little shops to explore. Well, any day but Monday, that is. We were hoping to feed Hangry Allie, but unfortunately everywhere is closed. This happens sometimes. I remember one time driving all the way across the country, like for days and days, thinking, I'm going to the Walt Disney Boyhood Hometown Museum in Marceline. And then I showed up there, and Marceline had a serious case of the Mondays. Everything was closed. Well, luckily we've got some snacks in the van, and the important thing is we're together, and we're driving down the California coast today. And it looks like the weather's getting a little better, too. Allie's got to get back to school tomorrow, so we can't linger long in any given place. Luckily, Mendocino seems to be on our side with that today. Man, all this just makes me want to go home and carve some more wood. I love to carve. Pretty fun looking at all these kooky old houses. Look at this place right here. Look at this water tower. Awesome. And again, carved wooden signs. That's the way to go, people. If you want to be cool, at least. I'll make you really popular down at the youth center. What is up, my fellow kids? I'm a wood carver. Oh, look at this. Almost on the doorstep of the ocean, we finally found an open place to get some food. The Fog Eater Cafe. I don't know if they'll serve stuff Allie likes, but at least it's open for business. Can't wait to go inside. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is closed, too. Oh, man. Mendocino does not want you to eat. Okay, well, there's one place I know for sure is open. It's not the best option for eating, but it is the tastiest. It's Mendocino Chocolates, the candy store. They got fudge and truffles and candies and caramels and lollies and taffy. And look at that. It's Randomland. No. And look at that. It's Random Van adjacent. Ooh, look at all of this fancy chocolate in here. Look at, they weren't kidding about lollies. Look at these custom lollipops. Look at the shark lollipops. Oh my gosh. Extraterrestrials. Julio would love these. Look at all of this chocolate. Look at all the varieties. Milk chocolate, dark chocolate, peppermint chocolate, key lime, white chocolate. Mendocino mama. And if you like pina colada or getting caught in the rain, you can get a marble dolphin. Dude, there's some weird stuff in here. My favorite thing in here, though, isn't the candy. It's all of these. Look at these historic photos of the whole county. Mendocino, some of the logging roads out here, the harbors, the railroads. And look, does that look familiar to you? Look at it, it's Mendocino. Weird. What you got there? You got
Alien and a flower.
alien and a flower.
And that's gonna be your breakfast and your lunch. Aww. I'm just kidding, we'll find more food once we get out of this town. Well, it looks like we're gonna have to dig our way out. I understand and sympathize with the call of the sea, but personally, I've never been afflicted with that call. I've always been affected by the call of the road. Mostly because it's a lot less wet, but also because there are fewer floggings. And the road is starting to call me back home, my friends. It's starting to call me indeed. At some point, I've got to spend some more time up here because I've got to do more on my Redwood Highway series. There's a bunch of historical places up here I want to check out. I've got to get back to the skunk train and the rail bikes. In case you missed the last few adventures, which I highly encourage you to go back and observe. We were just shooting up here really quick to get my van fixed by my buddy Adrian, and of course to let Allie come back to Fort Bragg and Mendocino for a day or two. But now that we've had some fun, done some shopping, got some treats, it's time for us to start heading south again, especially since it's already like 4 o'clock and we've got to drive all the way from Mendocino County down to Orange County tonight. All right, you loaded up on sweets, my sweet?
Yes.
All right, then we're gonna keep cruising until we find some place for you to get some real food. Finding today a little frustrating because I'm showing you guys some stuff like, here's a tour of Fort Bragg, oh, just kidding, everything's closed. Oh, here's a tour of Mendocino, ah, just kidding, everything's closed. Oh, but sometimes these adventures are just the sort of thing where we let the camera roll and what happens, happens. Today, it just so happens, this is what happened. In this situation, what I want to do and what I usually do when I'm by myself out on the road is I want to keep it going, you know? Something else will happen, something crazy will happen. But I think this adventure is long enough, especially considering that I've basically been inviting you on our cute dates all day. And even though we have a few hours left of daylight driving to get home, some of that time we should probably spend talking to each other. So, from Allie over here, who is enjoying her chocolate, and from me, thanks for coming along with us on our little adventure here. Next time we come up, hopefully more things will be open and we can wedge in a few more historical sights and sounds, some more crazy attractions, you know, more of the usual stuff that we do. But don't worry, my friends, there are more adventures ahead. And don't forget, I was up here to fix the van because we are going to be doing some road tripping this summer, if I have anything to say about it. That means that although today's adventure might be over for us, there are more adventures ahead. Please make sure to do me a favor. Check out all the links below in the description. If you like this video, share it with a friend. And if you've done all that, you've done your duty. You can go home and sleep well. Enjoy the drive. Don't worry, gang. Eventually, we found Allie some pizza. The end. Oh, cold.